Back in the 1950s, the US built a nuclear-powered heavy payload bomber that even flew with a functioning nuclear reactor on board, the NB-36 Crusader. Now, the Crusader was, in simple terms, a nuclear-powered version of the B-36 Peacemaker, an absolute monster of a bomber with a wingspan 45 feet wider than today's B-52 and a unique propulsion system comprised of 6 pusher prop engines and 4 more turbojets. The B-36 entered service in 1948, boasting a mind-boggling 10,000-mile range and greater payload capacity than any American bomber today, maxing out at 86,000 pounds. But with the first Soviet nuclear test detonation following just 1 year later, the Air Force wanted to see if they could build a bomber that could stay airborne nearly indefinitely, providing a continuous threat of nuclear reprisal that would make the Soviets think twice about attacking America. So they decided to cram a 1 megawatt nuclear reactor inside the bomber's fuselage. This 35,000-pound propulsion system, called the HTRE-3, was designed to allow the bomber's engines to function under either nuclear power or conventional combustion, using good old-fashioned fuel for safe takeoff and landing, and nuclear power for everything in between. The HTRE-3 was a direct cycle system that pulled air in through the compressor of the turbojet engines, and the air then traveled through a plenum that led to the core of the reactor, where it was superheated, forcing it to expand through the turbines and out the back of the engines as thrust. The 12-ton crew compartment was covered in shielding as much as a foot thick in places, making the aircraft eerily quiet to operate. And the reactor itself was lowered out of the aircraft and into a subterranean bunker in between flights. Now, the NB-36 flew under conventional power, with the HTRE-3 reactor on board and functioning through multiple test flights, and it even racked up 89 hours in the sky with that reactor at full burn. But it never flew under direct nuclear power, and that's because it was crazy. By the late 1950s, the program was canceled in favor of notably less insane nuclear delivery methods, like the SM-65 Atlas ICBM.